Ferguson TE20. Before the big machines took over the fields, there was a small gray tractor that changed everything. The Ferguson TE20 folks called it the Little Gray Fergie. Born in 1946, right after the war, it wasn't loud or mighty. It was modest, humble, just like the farmers who bought it. But what it lacked in size, it made up for in spirit. Under that steel hood beat a 4-cylinder heart pushing around 28 horsepower. It had a 3-point hitch, Harry Ferguson's proud invention, that made plowing, planting, and lifting smoother than ever. It was clever engineering for the common man, and it worked like a dream. In the early mornings, you'd see the Fergie cutting neat rows through the mist, its little engine humming steady. No smoke clouds, no fuss, just that steady purr that promised another day done right. It could pull a plow, mow hay, or haul a wagon to town, and when it idled by the barn, the sound was as comforting as a coffee pot on the stove. Farmers loved it because it didn't break their backs or their wallets. It was light, simple, and could run on a whiff of gas. If something did go wrong, you could fix it yourself, maybe with a wrench, maybe with wire and a prayer. That was the Ferguson way, practical, reliable, never too proud to get dirty. Even today, you'll find old TE20s still rolling at county fairs, their gray paint faded but their hearts still strong. Each one a reminder of when small farms thrived on determination and a steady hand. The Little Gray Fergie, it didn't roar, it worked. And that quiet strength helped build the very soul of the Midwest. Massey Ferguson 35. By the mid-1950s, farms were changing. Fields were bigger, days were longer, and the Little Gray Ferguson had earned a well-deserved rest. Then came its proud successor, the Massey Ferguson 35, dressed in red and ready for a new era. It rolled out in 1956, a union of two names that meant hard work, Massey and Ferguson. Under its hood sat a 3-cylinder Perkins diesel that purred soft and smooth but carried 37 horses worth of muscle. For many Midwestern farmers, that engine was music, steady, confident, alive. The MF-35 had modern comforts, 2 improved hydraulics, a better seat, and handling so easy that long hours felt just a bit shorter. It could plow, cultivate, mow, or haul with equal grace. And when the work was done, you could shut it down and listen to the quiet, knowing it had done everything you asked. Farmers liked that it always started on cold mornings when other tractors grumbled. Diesel smoke curled into the air like the breath of an old friend. It didn't just help raise crops, it helped raise families. In barns across Ohio and Iowa, fathers taught their sons to drive on an MF-35, letting them feel the hum of the engine and the weight of responsibility. That's how generations learned, not from books, but from the seat of a tractor. Today, you'll see them shining at shows, red paint gleaming, engines still whispering stories of long days in the fields. The MF-35 was proof that small could be mighty, and that reliability never goes out of style. Fordson Major. The Fordson Major came from across the sea, but it found its true home in the American heartland. Built in England after the war, it rolled onto U.S. farms with a diesel heart that never quit. At 48 horsepower, the Major was one of the strongest tractors of its class. Its engine rumbled low and deep, not sharp, but heavy, steady, like a drumbeat echoing through the fields. Farmers liked that sound. It meant work was getting done. The Major was simple to use but built tough as a railroad tie. Its weight helped it dig into muddy spring fields, and its torque pulled plows through thick prairie sod without complaint. Whether it was hauling logs in Wisconsin or tilling black earth in Iowa, it did the job and did it without fuss. What won farmers over wasn't just strength, it was reliability. The Fordson Major didn't talk big, it just showed up, day after day, year after year. You could start it in the cold, run it till dark, and it never grumbled. By the 1950s, it had become a familiar sight on Midwestern roads, that blue and gray frame rolling steady, a farmer at the wheel, a collie trotting alongside. Even now, some of those old majors still earn their keep, pulling wagons at county fairs or breaking ground for nostalgia's sake. They say the major had a British accent but spoke fluent Midwest. And it's true, because wherever there was soil to turn and sun to chase, it belonged. The Fordson Major, a world traveler that found its forever home in the fields of America. Case VAC. Sometimes the smallest machines leave the biggest mark. That's what folks say about the Case VAC. Born in 1942, right in the thick of the war, the VAC was a humble little tractor, just 20 horsepower or so, but it pulled far more than its weight. While the world fought overseas, these tractors kept the home front fed. They plowed the gardens, baled the hay, and hauled the grain that fed soldiers and families alike. The VAC was light, dependable, and frugal. It sipped gasoline when others gulped it. Its engine had a warm, steady tone, more of a hum than a growl, and when it idled beside a barn, you could almost feel it breathing. What made it special wasn't power, it was character. It was the tractor for the everyday farmer, the one with 40 acres and a family to feed. It could do nearly any job you asked, from running a belt drive on the corn sheller to towing a hay wagon down a dirt road lined with cottonwoods. Fixing it was simple. A wrench, a rag, and a little patience could solve almost anything. The VAC didn't need pampering, it needed purpose. And when the day was done, you'd look out across the field, sun dipping low, orange light touching that orange paint, and you'd know, this was a good day. Today, those same tractors still start up after a quick spin of the crank, proof that honest engineering never dies. The Case VAC, small in size, mighty in heart, and forever part of the rhythm of Midwestern life. Farmall Super M. There's something about a Farmall that just feels right. And none captured that spirit better than the Farmall Super M. Built by International Harvester in the early 50s, the Super M was a brute, over 44 horsepower of pure determination. It stood tall, proud, and ready for anything. You'd find them everywhere, in cornfields outside Des Moines, on hay meadows in Wisconsin, and along dusty lanes in Indiana. That red paint wasn't decoration, it was identity. It said, "We work hard here." The big four-cylinder engine delivered deep torque that could pull heavy tillage without complaint. You'd smell the hot oil and hear the steady thump long after you parked it for lunch. It wasn't just a tractor, it was a test of endurance for both man and machine. Farmers loved the Super M because it was honest. You could fix it yourself, run it all day, and trust it through any season. It was as steady as the men who drove it, no pretense, no nonsense. Today, those red tractors still show up at parades and plow days, exhaust puffing little clouds that smell like history. They remind folks of a time when strength and simplicity were enough. The Farmall Super M, red as pride, strong as the soil, and always ready for one more field. Allis-Chalmers WD45. If you ever saw one coming down a dirt road, you couldn't miss it. That blaze of orange against green fields, it could only be an Allis-Chalmers WD45. Introduced in 1953, the WD45 was born for the post-war boom. Farmers were ready for more power, and Allis gave it to them, 44 horsepower of honest muscle, drawn from a 226 cubic inch engine that could growl low or sing steady all day long. It was the first Allis to feature a true live power takeoff. That meant the baler, the mower, the thresher, they kept running even when you stopped to shift. It saved time, saved effort, and felt downright modern. Farmers loved how it handled. It wasn't fancy, but it felt balanced, responsive, almost eager. You could plow for hours, climb off for lunch, then hop back on and keep going until the fireflies came out. The WD-45 didn't whine. It thundered. Every stroke of that engine echoed through the valley, deep and bold, like a declaration, "We can do this." Out on the prairie, those orange tractors dotted the horizon, bright, dependable, and proud. At sunset, they looked like glowing embers scattered across the land. And even now, you'll find them parked in the same old barns, maybe dusty, maybe scarred, but never forgotten. Their engines still turn over after all these years, their stories still alive in the hearts of those who worked them. The Allis-Chalmers WD45, the orange thunder that turned sweat into progress, and left the fields humming long after the day was done. Oliver 88. Where some tractors roared, the Oliver 88 purred. It had class green paint with yellow wheels, curved lines that looked as good as they worked. Farmers called it the gentleman's tractor, but don't let that fool you. It could work as hard as any in the field. Under its sleek hood ran a 6-cylinder Hart, smooth and strong, pushing nearly 46 horsepower. The sound was different, a calm, confident hum that made long days feel shorter. When you sat on an Oliver, it felt like stepping into the future. The controls were easy, the power steady, and the comfort surprising. It made a man proud just to drive it. Across the Midwest, the 88 became a favorite for corn and grain farmers. It handled big implements, rolled straight and true, and looked sharp doing it. Neighbors noticed when an Oliver passed by it was the tractor with manners. But beneath that polish was pure grit. Through mud or heat, through years of work, it never lost its poise. Even today, you'll find old Olivers restored to a shine that would make their builders proud. At county fairs, the crowd gathers close when that engine starts, a smooth hum that stirs the heart. The Oliver 88 beauty with backbone, elegance that earned its place in the heartland. Ford 8N. After World War II, America was ready to rebuild. Farms were growing again, and soldiers were coming home, hungry for land and purpose. That's when the Ford 8N rolled in, the tractor for everyone. Released in 1947, the 8N was affordable, easy to maintain, and dependable as sunrise. Its 4-cylinder engine produced about 27 horsepower, paired with a simple 4-speed gearbox. You didn't need a mechanic or an engineering degree, just determination and a few tools. It was light, nimble, and perfect for small farms, orchards, and dairy lots. You'd find them across Ohio, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, pulling plows in spring and hauling wagons of hay come July. The sound of the 8N was cheerful, a steady hum, never harsh, never proud. Farm kids learned to drive on it. Grandpas still talk about those mornings when they'd hear the engine bark to life before dawn, coffee steaming in the kitchen. The Ford 8N wasn't about horsepower, it was about opportunity. It put a tractor in reach of the everyday farmer, giving small hands big power. Its gray and red paint faded over time, but its reputation never did. You'll still see them today, working gardens, pulling trailers, or parked proudly in front yards as a reminder of simpler days. The Ford 8N, the tractor that brought the machine age to every dirt road and backfield in the Midwest. A true friend to the common man. Minneapolis-Moline U. Head north into Minnesota, and you'll still hear stories about the Minneapolis-Moline U. They call it the Golden Power, and for good reason. First built in 1938, the Model U carried 41 strong horses under its long yellow hood. It was built heavy, made to bite into the tough prairie soil and keep pulling long after the sun went down. When that engine fired, it didn't whisper, it growled. The U could pull a 3-bottom plow with ease, handle belt work on the thresher, or drag wagons through sticky clay. It was the workhorse of big fields and big hearts. That bright yellow paint wasn't just for looks, it was pride. A farmer sitting up high on that iron seat could see for acres. The horizon stretched wide, and so did the sense of purpose. It was a tractor that didn't give up. And in the long winters, when others refused to start, the U would cough once, then rumble steady, like it was saying, "Don't worry, I've got this." Minneapolis-Moline tractors weren't built in fancy factories overseas, they were made right there in the heartland, by people who knew the meaning of a hard day's work. Many still stand in sheds across the north, golden paint faded but the engine's ready if you prime them right. The Moline U was more than a machine, it was a partner in every harvest, a silent witness to the courage that built America's farms. John Deere 720. And here we are, number 1. The tractor that sang the song of the Midwest, the John Deere 720. Introduced in 1956, it stood as the final, shining chapter of the great two-cylinder era. Its famous Johnny Popper engine, gas, diesel, or LP, produced up to 65 horsepower and a rhythm no man could mistake. That pop 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 echoed across valleys and through barns like a heartbeat. When you fired it up, the ground shook. The seat vibrated under you. And you knew this wasn't just another tractor. It was the sound of progress, pride, and prosperity. The 720 had muscle for the biggest fields and the toughest jobs. Its 8-speed transmission and live PTO made it versatile and smooth, perfect for long days behind the plow. And yet, for all its power, it was still simple, still true to its roots. You'd start before dawn, fog hugging the rows, exhaust curling into the cold air. The hum of that engine felt alive, steady as your own pulse. At dusk, when you eased off the throttle and let it idle down, it felt like the land itself was taking a deep breath. Farmers trusted it. Families depended on it. And generations remember it. Even today, you'll see the old green giants rolling proudly in parades, their engines popping in rhythm like laughter from long ago. The John Deere 720 wasn't just a machine, it was a chapter in every farmer's story. The heartbeat of the fields, the song of the soil, the green giant that built the Midwest. Thanks for riding along with us down memory lane. These old tractors, and the folks who ran them, built more than farms, they built a way of life. If one of these machines brought back a memory, share your story in the comments. And if you love the sound of old iron, don't forget to subscribe for more. Until next time, keep your hands honest, your fields steady, and your heart in the heartland.